Alright, we're back live on the new stream.
So we don't have to log back in then?
No, I'll keep that chat open just in case anyone's been dodgy. Not people being dodgy, but the stream.
No.
The stream itself.
Just go find a new stream.
I'll just give people the link now. I'm just getting it now. Give me a sec. Create. Go live. Where is it? It says it's live.
Yeah, looks like it is. Yeah.
Okay, let me just get the link.
Wags is there. Wags and Pat Brady are there.
Okay, cool. I've just posted the link in the old chat.
Yep, it's up.
Yep.
So people. Sorry, my Mac crashed.
Yeah. It's Captain. We've gone to warp 9. We can't recover from that.
Where the NPC never stops.
Of course not. It's hardware. The hardware's fine. What's with the delay?
Yeah.
Sounds like delay.
Just let me get this sorted out now. It's so loud. Hang on. There we go.
Hey. So, Rance, are you a delay going into your phaser or a delay after your phaser, man?
Delay after it.
Yeah.
Right, let's see if this is working.
Because it makes the little peaks and troughs bounce around.
We're out of sync. Give me a sec.
No, it's just polyrhythms.
There we go, it's back in.
Yeah, of course it is. Yeah. It's jazz, man.
Now I've linked the two phases together.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, there's definitely a kind of a sort of a subtle saturation, but sort of a kind of a bigness to the sound on that 700 bass module. Kind of got a robustness, that kind of sound to it. Sounds robust. Definitely different.
Right, let's just change this up now. So this is like a Korg MIDI pops type sound?
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. Just some of that, yeah.
So what we want to do is we kind of wanted to get it to bite into it, right?
You're always trying to find the right sweep range to hit the right frequencies of the source content. So you're always sort of hunting for it.
So there's that sort of 70s sound, but there's that drum sound. Alright, so now that's strike fet was that. So we're going to take that out and we're going to go back into this one. Let's stop all this now. Let's see if we can get this happening again. Because the microbreak was coming through, I can now bring that straight through into the master. Sounds very wet. Now, one of the things we do with the microbreak is we could patch that matrix, right? Let's do that. I'm just going to move my mic out of the way. Now the other thing we can do is we can get the strike fet to go back in. This time, instead of going through the phaser which we had before, so we got that sound still right. This time we're going to use the phaser that's built into the strike fet. So it sounds quite. If I mute all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
What we want to do? Let me just get this pads off for a sec. So that's the strike fet with nothing on it. Let's go back to my... Does my Mac actually work? Oh wow, it's kept all the settings. Holy crap.
Wow.
Alright, so we want to get the phaser happening on here. That's down the bottom here. Oh, has that... No, maybe it hasn't.
It's a
Maybe it
frozen
hasn't.
screen, yeah. It's just a
It's a frozen
last
screen.
frame. Yeah.
There you go.
Ooh.
Cool.
OBS did not shut down properly.
Alright, so we want to introduce the phaser from here. This is really the most simplest phaser you could ever hear. Right, let's bring these sounds back in. That's the MIDI pops. Now we'll bring the bass cymbals in. So just when you're listening to all that, you can hear the difference. I feel this is where you really truly hear the difference between an analog modulation phaser and a digital one. I really kind of feel like, I mean, that strike fit one that's built in is a pretty bad example, but there's a lot of good phasers out there. So what I want to do next is I wanted to show you the Maikshifter plug-in phaser, right? Because that's the 12 stage.
Yep.
This is one that we talked about that Behringer have just made on the show. So this is the actual software version of it. So what we'll do is we'll head back over to the Mac, and I'll just on the strike fet channel. I'm actually going to do it as an insert. So I'm actually going to do it on the same channel as the strike fet. That way we're forcing it to go in, right? Instead of doing it as a send return, I'm just going to do it as an insert. Hopefully I don't crash my Mac again. I've never ever seen my Mac crash before, by the way. Anyway, here we go. So there's the Maikshifter MF103. Now, I actually am pretty impressed with this. So we can back this software phaser off from the Waldorf, right? Well, we probably need to turn off that. Otherwise, we're going to get targeting sounds. So in here, there's presets. You know, if you really, really don't know what you're doing and you go, okay, cool. There's a whole bunch of presets in here. So let's go oxygen, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I've got the iPad version.
I mean, doesn't that sound beautiful?
Sounds great.
Yeah. Like a brick. Alright, so now we've got a phaser set. That actually sounds pretty good, and it's digital. So let's get everything going again. This is what I was saying to you before about how I like to put drums through phases. It's giving that movement. Like if you find that's too much resonance, it's too creamy for you, you can back it off, right? So I still want the movement in it.
Yeah.
But let's say I don't want it so creamy. Just back it off. So it does pick a little bit of resonance up here and there, but it just gives those drums a bit of movement. Not these drums. That's just your beat and your hat, right? I'm talking about this bit of percussive stuff going in the background. Yeah. And if it's too loud, it's all to do with mixing. If that's too loud, do you think it's too loud? Just back it off a bit. So it's just subtle now in the mix.
That's just how you mix it. You could also compress it. Too. Another classic way of controlling dynamics.
Well, we literally have an SSL compressor right here.
I know.
Anyway, phases to death.
Yeah.
We phased ourselves to death.
Or crashes.
Yeah. And crashes. Phases and crashes. By the way, I noticed that we had like 50 people watching and then we crashed and now there's only 19 watching.
I know.
A whole bunch of people just went, fuck it.
It's too hot. Oh, too cold.
I've got in this eurorack, I've probably got about 7 different phaser modules and I can go through all of them. I don't want to do that on this show because that's not what it's about. I just wanted to show you what I love about the laser phaser, for example, is it's a System 700 clone phaser and it's 16 stages. And when I said to Chris before when he was showing his phase, it sounded better. I thought his phaser sounded better when it was at 6 stages. So usually, in my opinion, the more stages, the better the phaser sounds. It's not always right. It's not always the case. It depends on the sound you're putting through it. But I feel like you're going to get more sort of movement with your sound through more stages. So anything from 6 and up, 6, 8, 12, 16 is a beautiful...
6 seems to be the sweet spot.
Well, the small stone is like 6, isn't it?
The beginning of it, yeah. Yeah.
The small stone is 6. Yeah.
Most of the classic ones are 6 and as I said, just goes up from there.
Yeah. And the Moga one or the Behringer one's that's 12. That's pretty decent. So you get... when I talked about the ARP Quadra, right? The ARP Quadra phaser is one of my favorite sounding phasers, right? And I think it's 14 stage, which is kind of a weird number. That's one of the reasons why it's so unique sounding. They
just have to be multiples of 2.
Well, they do because that depends on how you pair it in your circuit, right?
Well,
it's got to be because you got your original signal and your.
That's the thing, yeah.
Is
if you go an odd number, it starts negating itself or something.
It cancels the waveform out.
Cancels itself out. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
it cancels the previous stage out, so you have to have 2 pairs.
It's actually about the notches and the peaks. So when you were actually looking at the resultant audio, you will see that there's notches and peaks.
That's right.
And what a phaser does then is it can move across and back and forward across those notches and peaks. So that's what you're getting, and that's the beauty of it. That's why it's such a cool effect. It's genius in a way. All it is just playing with audio phasing. Very, very genius stuff happening in the... I don't know when they invented it, but it would have been in radio, right? They would have known about it years ago, in the early days of radio.
Probably 30s, 40s. Probably.
Yeah, all of that sort of signal processing, stereo, learning about the stereosphere as well is important because your ears behave differently. So it's about human manipulation of audio as well. What was that thing I read the other day was so you can actually you can get an audio signal coming and then you can get something that listens to it and then plays it back to you at the reverse phase and it cancels it out.
Yeah,
right?
It's like that's how noise cancelling headphones work.
Yeah. So that technology is actually getting more and more and more sophisticated in the world.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It's like there was a record. It wasn't about phasing, but it's about we played a festival once a few years ago, and they put loads of reverb on everything. I mean, loads and loads of reverb, and then they gave us the recording of it. So it's, I mean, as it is at the moment, it's completely really unlistenable. But at some point in the future, I know I'm going to be able to take that reverb off. I might be able to do it now, actually, but
Reverb,
yeah. Take it off. I can obviously split the tracks because I've only got a stereo recording, and probably do something with it and put it out. But at the moment, it's terrible. God knows what it sounds like up front.
Isotope.
Isotope, exactly. Yeah. It's on my list of jobs at some point to try at some point in the future.
Well, a lot of the
it was because you say it was a radio station that put it out like that. So it's I mean, talk about really screwing it up. So here we are, radio performance. Yeah. Absolutely.
Have you guys ever played with editing a wave, like a spectrum of audio, right? So have you ever played with editing like parts of the frequency? So say for example you've recorded something that you've got no choice other than either record it again, or you can try your luck at trying to edit out a certain frequency in that recording. Like say for example there's a there's a high pitch hiss sound and you just can't get rid of it. So you can either use an EQ to try and get rid of it, but if you use your EQ, then you're losing some of your top end from some of your sounds. So what you can do is you can notch it out. Yeah. And
I do that kind of stuff heaps.
Yeah.
Especially in sort of creative sample design, especially when I had drums and stuff like that.
When I had to master the Nerve Center album, I had to master it from my copy of the vinyl album. I obviously went through all of that sort of stuff, doing, taking out pops and crackles, because it wasn't a bad copy, but there was. And the thing about vinyl is what people don't realise is there's an underlying rumble. Just I've got a good turntable, but there is still an underlying rumble, and you need to be able to take that out. You can only really hear it on headphones. Yeah, but I went through all that process.
Or if you've got a sub.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm serious. Yeah. If you've got a set of monitors with a sub, you'll hear a whole bunch of shit that you don't hear without subs.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what I was saying before is that some of the algorithms, what they do is they use phasing. This is why I'm bringing it into the conversation. So, for example, there's an algorithm that I know. I think it's in Audacity that you can copy into the system a noise copy, and then what it does is it then mimics that and replicates it back, and for you to remove it out of the track, it plays it back over itself at the.
It's called a noise print.
Yeah, and it plays it back over itself at the opposite phase, and that actually cancels the whole thing out. And it does it. It's pretty clever. I think it's pretty clever. And so with your, because all your samples now, everything's all done digitally, right? So you've got different bit rates, different sampling frequencies and things like that, like 48K, 96, blah, blah, blah. All of that comes into the way it processes it as well. So it becomes quite interesting. Like you can actually, if you think about it, the guys that do things like, like Isotope, those people, right? It's actually pretty simple in theory to actually write this stuff. Even stem separation, it's just quite simple in theory. But the more we get clever about recognizing what vocals sound like and what drums sound like and what synths sound like and things like that, those stem separations are going to get even better and better and better as we go into the future.
I mean, certainly having done quite a bit with Isotope, they advise you to record the noise floor of whatever it is you're recording, so that you can start to cut that stuff out and reverse polarize it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unedit or unreverb or de-reverb or removing reverb is actually kind of tricky. It's kind of tricky.
I thought it might be.
Yeah.
I haven't tried it yet.
So I always find, if you guys ever tried it, Have you ever tried de-reverb algorithms? So
No.
you are always going to get artifacts, no matter what.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it just doesn't know whether that's part of the reverb tail that should be removing, or if that's actually part of the
signal,
the dry signal that it should have kept. And I think de-reverbs they're useful, but they're very, very difficult. In a kind of situation where you might be in a room, like say this room here, it's got a small reverb sound, natural reverb sound in this room. I could quite easily get rid of that through using an algorithm. That would not be a problem at all, because there's no other than my voice, there's no other noise that's creating complications for the algorithm to latch onto, right? But if I had music playing in here as well, then it complicates it. So,
absolutely,
yeah.
It's also, I wonder if it's harder to de-reverb artificial reverbs than natural reverbs.
Yeah, because obviously
just because of the nature that it's a simulation of reverb and actual acoustic phenomena.
Yeah,
and, you know, stuff to our ears can sound exactly the same. We're very good at sort of smoothing out differences, but I imagine a machine can actually tell the difference between natural reverb and synthetic reverb much better than we can.
Yeah, I mean, what makes it difficult for this particular recording is the fact it's on the master bus out, so it's on everything. It's not just, had it been not just on vocals, we could have probably dealt with it.
It's complicated.
It's complicated because everything's got, and it's a lot of, it's really crap sound.
What you probably could do as an option is get a good stem separation. It'll still have the reverb in all the stems, but then you'll find the de-reverber will find it easier.
That's a really good idea. Because I tell you, stem splitting in Logic now is really good. It's
getting really good, isn't it? Yeah.
There is artifacts. You're always going to get that, but you don't hear it so much once you start putting things back together. You know.
Bert's asking why is stem separation a big thing? I mean, there's reasons. If you're getting, I'm not going to get. I personally don't get into this myself, but I'll give you a use case of what I use quite frequently for stem separation. So, out there in the big world, DJs use it a lot because what they want to do is they want to do things like vocal effects. They want to do vocal chopping, and so they're doing kind of dance remixes of older tracks or similar tracks, and they're doing effects with the vocals and things like that. So if you can stem separate the vocals out, then you can play with sample manipulations of those vocals, and it becomes kind of a cool thing. It's good fun. So that's why it's such a big thing, and getting it really good is actually where a lot of the software development is going at the moment. For me, I use stem separation for things where it's pretty much the same thing. It's just a different take on it. So I might want to get a sample out of something, and then I might want to put that sample into like a granular synth or a wavetable synth, or maybe I might just want to play that as a sample player. You know, even the basic version, just make it as a sample player, like a Fairlight type thing, right? And then you've got the ability then to create different sounds because you've just sampled something that sounds awesome. So. And a really, really good example of it that I did recently was and actually you mentioned it before, Chris, the throat singers, right, from Russia.
Yeah.
You know, the Russian throat singers. Or Mongolia or wherever they're from.
Well.
Tibet, Mongolia, yeah.
Mongolia is the other one,
This was years ago. I learned years ago that one of my favourite Depeche Mode's album, they had the throat singers in Waiting for the Night, right? That track, famous track, 1989, 1988, whatever it was, famous track, and there's the throat singers in it, and they used the throat singers on a emulator 2, I think it might have been at the time, and they were manipulating a sample of that and playing around with that, and I actually found some throat singing MP3s on the internet, and I started mucking around with it, and discovered that, I mean, those guys are geniuses, eh? I discovered that you can have so much fun with throat singing like little snippets of samples from throat singers, right?
yeah.
It's almost like this really friggin' cool oscillator.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And all of a sudden you're playing with
it's like the most
wavetables
awesome
and stuff.
Yeah, it's like a wavetable. It's like the most
Yeah.
awesome wavetable synth you've ever heard. So human. Yeah.
And Bert, that started out as a stem separation. So there's your link back to it. So I had to obviously stem separate it. You don't want to have all the Tibetan or the Mongolian instruments, at the same time. You just want the sound coming. That's what you want. Yeah. And then you put that into your little synth, and away you go, and you're happy because you've got this cool sound. So yeah. That's why I think STEM's good, because it gives us as synth sound designers an opportunity to, pull something out that we don't want all the baggage with it. We just want that. Pull it out.
Yeah, I mean, I've got quite a few recordings which are just stereo. So they were recorded live down to a stereo mix.
Yeah.
I've never had the multi-track because there never really was one, and it would be nice to go back at some point in the future and sort of redo those, remix them, remaster them, So,
Let me just save this so I don't lose this project. I just want to show you. Where are we? Live stream. I'll just call this today 304, isn't it? 304. All right, cool. If I go into Ableton and I grab, I just saved you. Why are you asking me to save again for? Okay, fine. Computers can't live with them, can't kill them. Here we go. All right, let's go across to Ableton. Now somewhere in here I've got throat, right? Throat here, yes, here's throat. So there's throat, right? So this is years ago. I've had this Ableton project for years, right? So this Ableton project, by the way, is actually Depeche Mode, Waiting for the Night, right? And I think I made this when I first got my 2600. So I'll probably get a copyright claim for this, but I'll just quickly play this for you. Right? Recognize that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because then you can do things like... Right, so that's your main song, but in here is the throat singer, okay, and emulator 2,
yeah,
with throat sound. And it sounds friggin' cool. It's just one of the coolest sounding things.
It doesn't sound human, does it? It sounds otherworldly.
And obviously the good thing about the emulator is you can go into this and manipulate, the waveform that you're playing with. And you can see there's a massive sample here, right? And I'm only just taking this tiny little snippet out of here. I mean, the thing with Depeche Mode, the trick for them was they wanted their sounds to be something that nobody's heard. They wanted people to go, "Oh, what's that sound? That's really cool," and it glued people in. And they're obviously very clever at music as well, so that has helped. You can't be shit at music and have good sounds. You got to be good at music as well. So I mean, things like the search for the original sound is it's made people go crazy too in the world. Trust me, I've read books about it. But these kind of ideas, steal them from the greats, and then play with them yourself. That's how we learn. Even I'm an old crusty guy. I'm still learning. And this was, like I said, this is when I got my 2600. So what was that? 5 or 6 years ago now. I've had it for a while. Just after COVID, it was. And just playing. By the way, there's another layer. One thing great about the emulator is you can layer it. So cool. You can see here, you can layer it with all those layers down here, right?
Wow.
Yeah.
Ahead of its
Arturia's emulator. It's so good. It is so good. I would have loved to. In the day, I would have. You and Chris, you and I would have had to have sold a house to buy one. Seriously.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, Ferris Bueller could afford them.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. And that was on his day off.
There's something really cool about the old sampler tech, because the way that they weren't like these days. We would go, oh, it's 8-bit. Well, that's show over.
Yeah.
Whereas they went, 8-bit is all we got. Let's see what we can do with 8-bit. We're going to put in, they're going to put in so much complexity and technology on top of that little 8-bit sample, and we think of it, the most important bit being that little 8-bit, sample playback and record section. But that all the old samplers had way more circuitry in them to do other stuff.
Yeah.
With that basic thing, it's almost like it's not the sampling that's the point of the early samplers. It's everything around it is the manipulation and processing.
I got nerdy with it when I was a kid and I had an Amiga. And I was getting into trackers, So that's when I started getting nerdy with samples. And I've never you can never have enough samples. That's probably the issue with samples. So where it's at for me at the moment with samples is I like to make my own here in this room, or go out in the world and record my own in the world.
Yeah.
And I really enjoy that. That was one of the things I liked about the Gates album. That was good fun. Just going out and
Getting sounds, soundscapes and stuff.
I was just taking photos.
The sound
of stuff.
design. Yeah.
And then I'd be standing there taking photos. And Chris, you know this. There's an arch at the top of St George's Terrace in my city, right?
Yeah.
Which is the old barracks, right? And I was taking a photo of it for the album. And because that's the portcullis, right?
Yeah, I remember that.
And when I was there was just this sound of the city while I was there. And I just got my Zoom recorder out and just recorded it. Recorded about 30 minutes of it.
Yeah.
There's people walking past with high heels and guys talking as they're walking past me.
It is fascinating, that whole listening thing, when you just be quiet and listen.
Yeah.
And especially in cities, because everything really changes depending on what the humidity and the temperature is. And sometimes you can even just in your own house, if you open in the middle of the night, it's in the middle of the night when everything's very quiet, you can hear different stuff on different nights just because of the difference in temperature.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've always found that kind of mind-blowing. And in the city, it's kind of amplified because everything's so close together.
What do you guys like during thunderstorms? I love thunderstorms.
I mean, I did a 3-album set of a thunderstorm. So I recorded 3 hours and then used it in real time to put music to it, and used the thunderstorm as another instrument.
That is crazy. Yeah, I love it.
I mean, it took me 3 years to do it, And that was actually done in Bristol.
If you guys,
really miles away from
this is not for you guys, right? This is for the people watching on the replay as well. If you guys ever get a thunderstorm again next time, get yourself outside. Obviously be safe. Don't get struck by lightning and things like that. But get yourself outside and just study what you're hearing with the thunderstorm. You'll hear phaser sounds. You'll hear reverb and delay sounds. You'll hear these are all the natural sounds that we are hearing. And I just love listening to the different kind of rolls as it's traveling around the area. You'll hear it from afar. You'll hear it coming closer.
You can count it, can't you?
Yeah, it's a fantastic thing to listen to. So yeah, whenever I hear thunderstorm, I'm usually straight outside. I just love it. And my kids, my family, they look at me and they go, "This guy's a nutter." What's he doing?
I sometimes just open my window just so that I can hear like rain and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Sometimes I just sort of kind of crave that kind of sonic, I don't know, therapy or something.
Oh, the sound of water dripping in a stereosphere or even a surround sound sphere. if you can sit somewhere where you can hear droplets of water, hitting a pond
That's
really awesome.
good
I
fun.
once did a recording in a cave, and I did it for an Ambisonics project. So it was meant to be, it ended up being sort of 32 channel, but it was great to just, sit this equipment in the cave and then just record it for 40 minutes or so. And then the guy said, "You should come back when it's raining." Because there's all this dripping going on. He says it sounds amazing when it's raining.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
I've been in a
Cross
few.
Caverns in Yorkshire. It's brilliant. They were really, really helpful as well.
I've got a friend who's into industrial sounds. He loves. So, for example, you remember, I think we talked about years ago on the show when we were talking about Ben Breslin, who was the Star Wars guy, right? And how he used to discover these sounds. Like the sound of the projector was one of the actual noise the projector made was one of the Star Wars sounds of one of the was it the X-Wing or the TIE Fighter or something? I forget now what it was. So anyway, I've got a friend who literally just walks around with his Zoom recorder and records all different industrial sounds. Some of them could be domestic industrial. It might be Probes mentions in chat, the fridges make great sounds, right?
Oh,
especially the older fridge with the old compressors. You'll hear the compressor sort of rattle up and rattle down.
Yeah.
So he records all that sort of stuff, and then he puts them in things like the emulator or Fairlight or whatever software he's got, and he manipulates it and turns it into music. It's friggin' awesome. And there's tracks that he's made. I'll link you guys to this guy. There's tracks that he's made which have no traditional instruments at all in them. They're all literally just industrial samples that he's turned into what we would recognize as drum sounds or synth sounds and things like that.
That's fun doing that.
Yeah.
Even a little bit of that's good fun.
And that's truly creating your own sounds, That really is. It's cool. So yeah, throat sounds, Throat sounds from the Tibetans or whatever it was. Yeah. I mean,
anybody
can
do
your
that.
own farts in if you wanted to. Got to get ready.
Yeah, as Probe says, my 8mm. I've got an 8mm digitizer here, and the sound of that, I need to sample it. I will sample it at some point. It's switched off at the moment because it's really quite noisy.
Rotating
shutter. It takes a photograph of each frame.
Oh yeah, I remember them.
Yeah. So I'll be digitizing a load of 8mm film, which will appear in videos in future. Yeah.
I spent.
Probably it, is it?
By the way, if you're wondering who won the synth quiz, I didn't tell you, but I'll tell you who won it, and I'll tell you the answer of the synth quiz because everyone's probably wondering. So here's the answer of the synth quiz. It is Ambient Zero by Sonicware.
Should have said.
And it was Jack who got it in first, wasn't it, Chris? I'm pretty sure Jack was the first who got in first.
I couldn't tell whether
So Robbie put
Jack
it in.
or Robbie. Yeah,
I think Jack got in before Robbie. Yeah.
I thought it was going to be Kent, but
It's Robbie.
Yeah.
Kent's memory.
So I put the ob 6 but I knew it wasn't right.
If it wasn't Jack, it was Robbie. If it was Jack, it wasn't. I'm pretty sure, if I remember rightly, I saw Jack getting the first one in. He'll let us know. He looks pretty happy in chat right now. He's saying things like that. Good on you, Jack.
Yeah, good on you, mate.
So that's the synth quiz. That's done, and we talked about phasers and UFOs, and I thought that was fun. Get your micro brutes out if you've still got one. Give them some love during the week. That could be a good name. That synth. I've never thought of that actually. Yeah, there you go. Don't worry, I'm not doing one.
No.
Thanks everyone for being part of the show. 2 shows this week.
Yeah.
Part A and Part B.
Yes, Part
with
A.
the crash in the middle. Macs don't usually crash. That was kind of weird. Anyway, I'll work out what's going on there. But yeah, thanks for everyone for coming back. We got 26 people back. That's good. I'm happy with that. Anyway, next week, who knows what's going to be coming out between now and next week.
Hopefully some news. Of some kind.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
All right. She'll show you goodbye.
I'll see you in a fortnight.
Yes. You're
Yes.
off, are you?
I am. I'm at Gear Fest in London.
Off like a prostitute's G-string. No, I didn't say that.
Oh,
Right,
whoa,
okay.
whoa, whoa.
Off like a bride's nightie was what I did.
It's late for you guys, isn't it?
Even that's
it's
not
past
decent
the
anymore.
witching hour. It's past the watershed. We're all right.
All right. Well, I'm off. I'm off like a sack of prawns in the hot sun.
Yeah,
Right. See you all later.
See you later.
Catch ya.
Bye, everybody.